It seemed that these questions were very difficult to work out through completing the square, so I thought I would take the time to make a video so that everybody would have access so they could go back and look and make sure that they understand how to do 11 and 14. So I'm going to work these kind of quickly in order to make the video quick, but you're more than welcome to pause, rewind, watch it again. I don't waste a lot of time in the videos because you have that ability to go back and go back and go back. So I'm going to work these. I'll be talking while I do so. So first, we have 2x squared minus x minus 3. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get everything on the same side of the equal sign. So I'll have 2x squared minus x minus 3 equals 0. Now I know this seems funny because typically the first step in completing the square question is to move your constant term over, but I need to divide everything by 2, and so just the way my brain works, I like for everything to kind of work out this way. I need this coefficient to be 1, so I'm going to divide each piece by 2. So I divide this by 2, divide this by 2, divide this by 2, and divide this by 2. So divide everything by 2. So this is going to simplify down to x squared minus 1/2 x minus 3/2 equals 0. Now I'm going to move my constant term over. So I'll have x squared minus 1/2 x. Leave some space, equals a positive 3/2. Now I need to fill in this space, so I take my b value, which is 1/2. I'm going to do 1/2, divide that by 2, which I told you guys in class. Basically, the kind of trick to this is you just double the bottom, so I end up with 1/4. And now I need to square this in order to know what to fill in to make this a perfect square trinomial. So 1 times 1 is 1, 4 times 4 is 16. So I'm going to add 1 over 16 to both sides. Now I'm going to factor the left-hand side. This should factor simply. It's just x minus 1/2 of 1/2, which we just found out was 1/4. Square that. Equals, now this will take some effort since I don't have a calculator. If you have a calculator, you can simply just type this in, hit enter, hit math, enter, enter, and get the answer. I've got to convert this into something out of 16. So I need to make 3/2 into 24 out of 16, multiplying top and bottom by 8. Add the 1, so you better get 25 over 16. So if you do this in a calculator, if you do 3/2 plus 1/16, you better get 25 over 16. Now we take the square root of both sides. I'm going to do that in a different color. And now I have x minus, luckily these are both perfect squares, so I get 5 over 4 plus minus. And quite honestly, I should have had a plus minus up here when I did this. Now I bring the 1/4 over. So x equals positive 1/4 plus minus 5 over 4. Figuring out my two cases, I'll add and subtract to get separate answers. If I add, I get 1 plus 5 is 6 over 4. Nope, that's 6 over 2. I should get 6 over 4, which equals 3/2. And if I do 1 minus 5, I get negative 4 over 4, which comes out to be negative 1. And you should see that these two are correct answers. So that's number 11. Number 14 is 3x squared equals 16x plus 12. I'm going to get everything to the same side. So I'll have 3x squared minus 16x minus 12 equals 0. Divide everything by 3 because I need my leading coefficient to be 1. So divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3, and divide by 3. So this cancels. So x squared minus 16 over 3x minus 4 equals 0. Move the constant term over, so x squared minus 16 over 3x equals 4. I need to figure out what to fill in this space with. So I'm going to take my b value, 16 over 3, divide it by 2, and like I said in the last example, you basically just double the bottom. So I get 16 over 6, which this reduces to 8 over 3. So I'm going to add 8/3 to both sides. The left-hand side should factor very easily. I should get x minus half of 16 over 3 was... Oh, I made a mistake. Sorry. Erase this 8/3. I forgot to square my value. So I get 64 over 9. Now we're going to add 64 over 9 to both sides. Awesome. Okay. So, no matter how good we get, we don't necessarily stop making mistakes. So, back to this. I'm factoring the left-hand side. I need to find half of 16 over 3, which up here we figured out was 8/3. So I'm going to do 8/3 minus 8/3 here. Put this in parentheses and square it. Equals. Now, this is going to be fun. This is really 4 over 1. I need this to be a 9. I'm just doing this kind of in my head, but I need to do it out loud so I hear myself. If you have a calculator, you can do 4 plus 64 over 9 and pretty much be done. But I don't have a calculator on me right now, so I'm doing this by hand, basically. So it's going to be 36 over 9. So this is going to get me 100 over 9. Take the square root of both sides, which again I will do in a different color, so you see I added in the square root. Do not forget your plus and minus. So this gets me x minus 8/3 equals plus minus. Ooh, luckily these are both perfect squares. I get 10 over 3. Now my two answers are going to be 8/3. This 8/3 is positive because I am moving it to the other side of the equal sign. So 8/3 plus 10/3. And 8/3 minus 10/3. 8 plus 10 is 18. 18 divided by 3 is 6. 8 minus 10 is negative 2. Negative 2 divided by 3 is not even, so it's negative 2/3. And that are the solutions to 11 and 14. Good luck.